Remember when everyone thought electric cars were the future? Well, Mercedes-Benz sure did. They went all in, promising to ditch gas cars by 2030. But now they're hitting the brakes hard. What happened? Let's rewind a bit. A few years ago, government started pushing car companies to go electric. They said, switch to EVs or we'll hit you with big fines. Mercedes, being the fancy car company they are, decided to lead the charge. In 2023, even though EVs only made up 11% of their sales, their CEO, Ola Kalinius, boldly declared they were going all in electric. But here's the million-dollar question. Was Mercedes really ready for this electric revolution? In 2021, Mercedes unveiled their shiny new electric flagship, the EQS. This was supposed to be their Tesla killer. It was sleek, it was luxurious, and it came with a price tag to match the Tesla Model S. Now, let's talk about that interior. White snow fantasy, beautiful stitching, elegant wood. It was like stepping into a future winter wonderland. They even threw in a massive 56-inch hyperscreen. Though it was really just 3 smaller screens under one piece of glass. Fancy, right? But then came the exterior, and oh boy, was it a shocker. In their quest for perfect aerodynamics, Mercedes seemed to have forgotten one tiny detail. People actually care how their $1,000 car looks. The EQS ended up looking like, well, an egg. A very expensive, very smooth egg. Here's a thought. When you're dropping 6 figures on a car, do you really care more about drag coefficients than turning heads? So, how did the EQS fare in the real world? Spoiler alert, not great. In 2022, they only sold 23,400 EQS sedans. In 2023, even worse, just 14,100. That's a pretty big flop for a car that was supposed to lead Mercedes into the electric future. But wait, because it gets worse. If you were one of the few who bought an EQS, you probably felt like you were watching your money evaporate. Within just 1 year, these cars lost almost half their value. That's right, you could find the EQS is selling for less than $50,000. Ouch. Mercedes didn't start with EQS though. They rolled out a whole lineup of EQ models. The EQB, EQE sedan, EQE SUV, all of them shared that smooth, egg-like design. And let's not forget the crown jewels of egg-shaped luxury, the Mercedes-Benz EQS Maybach SUV. For a cool $180,000, you too could own the most expensive Easter egg on wheels. Now, let's talk about the G-Wagon. You know, that big, boxy status symbol that screams, I have money and I don't care about fuel efficiency. Well, Mercedes-Benz decided to make an electric version of that too. They called it the EQG, and to their current credit, they tried to keep some of the G-Wagon's boxy charm, but they couldn't resist adding some futuristic touches, like a smooth front bumper and a weird square wheel case in the back. Here's the thing, G-Wagon buyers love their cars because they're unapologetically brash and old school. So Mercedes faced a tough question. How do you make an electric car for people who don't really care about being eco-friendly? Well, Mercedes was busy making expensive electric eggs. Other companies were actually listening to their customers. Let's look at a few examples that show how the competition got it right. First up, we have GM's Hummer EV. Now, you might think making an electric Hummer is like trying to put a salad bar in a steakhouse, but GM knew exactly what they were doing. Instead of trying to make it sleek and efficient, they made it even more over the top than the original Hummer. This beast is so wide that you need a special license to drive it in Europe, and it weighs a ridiculous 9,000 pounds. But guess what? Hummer fans absolutely loved it. GM understood that Hummer buyers don't want eco-friendly, they want big, brash and unapologetic. Next, let's talk about the Ford F-150 Lightning. Ford took a different approach, but it was equally smart. They looked at America's best-selling truck, the regular F-150, and basically just made it electric. They didn't mess with the design or try to reinvent the wheel. They knew F-150 lovers love their trucks just the way they are. So why change a winning formula? The results? A hit with the F-150 lovers who want to go electric without giving up the truck they know and love. Now let's look at a newcomer, the Lucid Air. This company managed to do something Mercedes couldn't. Make a super aerodynamic car that actually looks good. The Lucid Air proves you can have efficiency without sacrificing style. It's sleek, it's modern, but it still looks like a luxury car you'd want to be seen in. Lucid showed that you don't have to choose between form and function, you can have both. So the lesson here? Know your audience. Mercedes buyers aren't typically looking for the most eco-friendly option. They want luxury, status, and maybe even a bit of flashiness. GM, Ford and Lucid all succeeded because they understood what their customers wanted and delivered exactly that, just with an electric powertrain. To understand how Mercedes ended up in this electric pickle, we need to talk about a changing of the guard. In 2019, Dieter Zetsche, the iconic CEO with big moustache, retired. This guy had been with Mercedes forever and had turned the company into a modern luxury powerhouse. Enter Ola Källenius, the new CEO. He stepped into some pretty big shoes, and right as he did, the EV boom hit. Tesla was making waves with the Cybertruck, and new companies like Rivian were suddenly worth more than Mercedes. Talk about pressure. Källenius looked at what these EV startups were doing. Sleek designs, tons of screens, no buttons, and thought, we need to do that too. Was that really what Mercedes customers wanted? Fast forward to today, and Mercedes is facing some hard truths. Their revenue is stuck where it was 10 years ago, and their stock price hasn't budged in 7 years. But the real kicker? They're tarnishing the Mercedes brand with cars that, let's be honest, don't scream luxury like they used to. It turns out that making good electric cars is trickier than it looks. Even with their experience and billions invested, Mercedes struggle to match Tesla's range and efficiency. But here's the thing, it's not just a tech problem, it's a mindset issue. In their rush to go electric, Mercedes thought they needed to completely reimagine what a car should be. They forgot their customers still want a car that looks and feels like a Mercedes, even if it runs on batteries. The numbers don't lie, Mercedes EV sales have been disappointing, to say the least. In the first 3 months of 2024, their overall vehicle deliveries dropped, even though global car sales went up. It's a clear sign of something's not clicking with the buyers. Maybe it's the egg-shaped designs, or perhaps it's the fact that these new electric Mercedes don't quite capture the essence of what people fall in love with, and the brand in the first place. Now, here's where things get interesting. Mercedes has realised they messed up, but they're trying to fix it on the down low. They don't want to admit the EQ line was a flop, or tank the resale value of existing EQ cars even more. Their solution? They're quietly walking away from the whole EQ thing. Take the electric G-Wagon for example. It's not the EQG anymore. Now it's the G580 with EQ technology. That's a fancy way of saying, we're pretending the whole EQ thing never happened. But wait, because there's more. Remember all those futuristic styling? Gone. The new electric G-Wagon can be ordered to look just like a regular G-Wagon. You can even get a fake grille and a rear spare tyre instead of that weird square charging port. They're not stopping there. Even the egg-shaped EQS is getting a facelift, bringing back some traditional Mercedes styling cues. It's like they're slowly backing away from the future and hoping no one notices. This steady retreat shows just how badly Mercedes wants to correct course without drawing too much attention to their electric misstep. So what's next for Mercedes and their electric dreams? Well, they're not giving up on EVs entirely, they're just rethinking how they do it in a Mercedes way. They're aiming to replace EQS with a more traditional looking electric car by 2028. This means we'll probably see some egg-shaped Mercedes on the road for a while, but at least they're trying to make things right. The big question is, can Mercedes find a way to go electric without losing what makes a Mercedes? Well, only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the road to an electric future is a lot bumpier than anyone thought. And, well folks, that's the story of Mercedes' electric misadventure. What do you think? Did they make the right call? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and hey, if you enjoyed this electric roller coaster, hit that like and subscribe button